Hello, today is September 21st. We're going to go down here and we're going to take a look and click here. First thing I want to remind you is that you have an extra credit assignment here. So you're going to log in and you'll see that there's an attendance leak here. This video will be posted here, and here's your assignment. Let's take a look at today's lesson.
Today we're going to start taking a look at problems that have distributive property in them. And so to distribute means to give to something. So what that means is we're going to multiply this negative 8 times the 6 and times the 1. And so the first step I would do is have a piece of paper and write the problem out. But then mathematically, your first step is going to be to do distributive property. We're going to simplify. So this is going to help simplify. We're going to distribute. So negative 8 times 6 is negative 48. X comes with it. Now, when we multiply times the 1, it's actually a negative 1 in this case. So negative 8 times negative 1 is positive 8. Notice how the minus sign turned into a plus sign. 392 just comes down. So when you're doing distributive property, you want to do that on one side. And now I have a two-step problem, and so now I'm going to solve this one by doing the inverse operations. And so I want to start with doing subtraction and addition, and then move on to multiplication and division. So the next thing I'm going to get rid of is the plus 8. And so to get rid of plus 8, I have to subtract 8 from both sides of the equal sign. And so what happens is negative 48 comes down, x comes down, the 8's cancel, equal sign drops down, 392 minus 8 is 384. You can absolutely use Desmos. Now my next step is going to be to do, so that step was called the inverse of addition. So inverse of addition. Now the next step is going to be to get rid of the negative 48. So I'm going to do that by doing the inverse of multiplication. And so I want to divide both sides by negative 48. What ultimately happens is the 48's cancel, x drops down, equal sign drops down. 384 divided by negative 48. I would just go to Desmos, because I don't know my 48s, and do 384 divided by negative 48. And I get negative 8 as my answer. Go back to my paper and I put negative 8. This is my final answer. And so on your assignment, you're just going to enter negative 8 on Canvas. Looking at problem number 3, it's going to be to do the similar steps, very similar. We are going to do, the first step is to rewrite the problem. The next step would be to do the distributive property, negative 4 times negative 2, negative 4 times 5. So our first step is going to do to distribute. Negative 4 times negative 2 is positive 8. The x comes with it. Negative 4 times positive 5 is negative 20. Notice how the plus sign changed to a negative sign. The equal sign just comes down. Negative 84 drops down as well. The second step is to get rid of the minus 20. To do that, I'm going to do what's called the inverse of subtraction. Add 20 to both sides. X is going to drop down. The negative 20 and 20 are going to cancel. Negative 84 plus 20 is equal to negative 64. You can use a calculator. My third and final step is to do the inverse of multiplication, and we're trying to get rid of the 8. So we're going to divide by 8 on both sides. So what happens is the 8's cancel, x drops down. It's equal to negative 64 divided by 8 is negative 8. And so that would be my final answer. And then in your assignment, again, you'll put negative 8. Let's do one more just to be on the safe side. So this time, our first step again is to do the distributive property. So distribute. Five times 6 and 5 times 5. 5 times 6 is 30. R comes with it. 5 times 5 is 25. It's positive 25, so I put the plus sign. Negative 95 drops down. And then our second step is going to be to do the inverse of addition. I want to get rid of the plus 25. So to get rid of plus 25, I'm going to minus 25 from both sides. 30R drops down. The 25's cancel. And then 95 minus 25 is negative 120. Use Desmos if you don't understand how to do that. Third step is going to do the inverse of multiplication. And I'm going to try to get the R by itself by getting rid of that 30. So I'm going to divide both sides by 30. The 30s are going to cancel. R drops down. It's going to be equal to negative 120 divided by 30 is negative 4. And this is your final answer. You'll enter in your answer on Canvas as just negative 4.